So convening the work plan meeting of the drafting committee together on June 18th, 2015. So we have 4 members here out of the 6, and that's a quorum. So why don't we go ahead and get started? I don't expect this to take too long because really what I wanted to do is to talk about milestones and the work plan that we need to do to get between now and well, June 30th, or actually between now and next Friday, but especially June 30th when we're going to be presenting the ballot measure language to the commission for their first read of it and comments. So I sent around, and I know you probably haven't had a chance to read through my emails, but I sent around a draft of the cover resolution and 3 of the kind of prototypes of the ballot measures of our proposals. They're really meant for, here comes Terry. To wait for Terry to join in.
Hey, sorry, I was stuck in traffic. Oh.
Traffic? We don't have traffic here.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh,
right.
I was just, I had to go through JBLM and Tacoma on my way here. That's traffic.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah, wait till the serious construction gets going on that. That's going to be a major challenge.
well, you would know. You're the
I do
roads,
know,
roads
and
guy.
actually was courted by the company who designed that project to join them before I joined OTAC after I was wrapping up the vine at CTRAN. So anyway, I was telling the others, Terry, that I don't expect this to take too long. Really, what I wanted to do was to get some thoughts on the draft resolution, the prototypes of the ballot measures, at least 3 of the items that we developed into more of a ballot measure language, and some milestones and assignments. Because right, we don't have much time to do this. The challenge that I think we're up against is bandwidth of Chris Cook to do legal sufficiency reviews as well. And so what I'd like to do is get your, and you don't need to do it now, I mean, maybe over the weekend, get your thoughts on, I'll pull it up, the draft of the cover resolution. Let's see, now we got to pull the correct one up. There, is the resolution showing on your screen?
Yes.
All right. So look at this is a lot of this is based on Clallam County's 2018 Charter Review Commission packet. They put 6 measures onto the ballot, and so the format of this resolution and the ballot measures prototypes really is based on theirs. Part of the research I was hoping, if we do bring on the intern, that I was hoping that they could help with locating some other Charter Review Commission products like Clallam County's, just as to give us some points of comparison. Because the ones that we have, one is they're changing the frequency of their charter review, which pretty much could just change the name from Clallam to Clark and we're almost there. So some of our measures are a little bit more complex, and that's why I was hoping we could find something that would give us a guide as we finish these. But what I'd like to do is at least get thoughts on some of these, maybe not tonight, but over the weekend, and transmit what we have, these drafts, to Chris Cook so she could do a legal sufficiency review. Because that's the most challenging thing I think we're going to be up against, is to try to get her input and review before the 30th. I know that there's going to be a couple of these measures that are going to be more complex that are going to come behind these, but I'd like to try to get the less complex and probably the ones that won't change much structurally, depending on the results of the survey and input that we've gotten, such as the nonpartisan offices and the charter review frequency, at least have those into her for review. The ethics, DEI, and districts one are probably going to be more complex. And that's the ones I'd like to work on at next week's workshop to try to finalize so that we can drop these on her the following Monday. And I'm going to reach out, since the county was closed today because of Juneteenth, I'm going to reach out to Chris on Monday and let her know what she can expect and when, so she's ready to give us some attention. So that's kind of my initial thoughts, is to get some of these in this week. The more complex ones that probably would need input or finalization of the proposals by the various subcommittees, have those available by next Friday's workshop, and then maybe make assignments in the interim as to who is going to be the liaison to the different subcommittees to bring back here any changes that we need to take into consideration, because Monday, July 1, 2, 3 is, no, that's not right. What is next weekend? Next weekend's the 25th. So Monday, the 26th or 28th, do I have my dates correct? Monday, the 28th, I'm hoping that we can give Chris Cook the remainder of whatever we don't give her next week to do a review, and so we can finalize them and have them available for presentation to the commission on the 30th. The timing is going to be of essence because I don't know how much lead time we can give the commission to read ahead the ones that are more complex before the 30th. And we might have to be presenting them real time to them for the first read. So that's kind of my initial thought. So I'd just like to put those out. What do you think?
I have a quick question. And around Chris Cook's availability. Now, if Chris Cook is not going to be available because she's going out of town, is that my understanding? Do we have a replacement for her? Should we need it?
There is somebody that she has
Yes.
said that she would refer questions to. She is going to be out the last 3 weeks in July, which is why the July 7th date was set up for our formal action. And really what I'd like to do is to get things in. I don't want to be modifying things substantially on the 7th. And that's why I'm hoping we use the meeting on the 30th for any discussion and any substantial edits, so that on the 7th, we're proposing the ballot measures and the resolution for formal action. And she's already signed off on, there's two things she needs to sign off on. One is the legal sufficiency of our language. Second is that we have established the resolution and these measures as the form, because she'll be signing the resolution as the form like she does ordinances that the county council passes.
Okay, but I think my question was, if for some reason we need legal advice, but while she's gone, we will still have resources available for us.
She has said, and I don't recall the name, but she has said one of her colleagues would be made available if we need it. But
Okay,
she
that's good to
couldn't
know. I think
guarantee that they're up to speed, that they would not, she couldn't guarantee that they wouldn't have a learning curve.
Okay, I just wanted to know if we had it available, should we need it if something
Yeah.
comes up. Yeah,
I think
and then, so my understanding, because I'm not really, like I'm new at this, right? The resolution is something formal that has to be done. And does that go out with the ballot, or is that something that is signed now?
So in what I sent around earlier, I sent the Clallam County Charter Review Commission packet that they did in 2018, which was the full packet. So
Right.
what we're going to be transmitting to the elections office on or before July 9th. So hopefully a day, and I need to confirm with Greg Kimsey if we need to have these as wet signatures or if these can be electronic signatures that we've been using to sign the minutes and such. If they're wet signatures, we're gonna have to walk these around to somehow get people to sign these the next day. But it needs to be the full packet. So whichever ones are passed with the cover resolution, and the resolution has attachments to it. And in the draft that I sent around, it references the measures, the proposals we're currently reviewing. You'll note that it breaks the nonpartisan into two distinct proposals. So this is the actual measures that we intend to put on the ballot need to be attached to the resolution. The resolution is the official action of the Charter Review Commission, plus the attachments as to what packet gets sent over to the elections office.
Okay, so you have DEI there. I'm trying to look. Sorry, I just walked in the door. Okay, so I think I kind of get it. So this is going to go over to Greg Kimsey with our final proposals.
Yeah, well, the
Okay.
actual ballot measure, yes, of whatever ones are attached and voted through. And right
Okay.
now,
And
there are
who
7
signs
of
this?
them. Pardon?
And who signs this?
The
You said it was
co-chairs,
Chris Cook? Okay.
co-chairs
Okay.
sign. Anthony Vendetti is the secretary, signs and as an
Okay.
he attests. Okay, and then Chris Cook signs as to form.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. Those are my questions.
I think the county does mostly electronic signatures.
Yeah,
so
and I think and there's a few coordinations with Greg Kimsey that I'd like to do next week, and Doug, I might be putting you on the hook for these. There's one of the things that I'd like to make sure we get is try to get the ballot, the wording of the measure as close to what the elections office would do or want to see, so that we're not trying to change these after we've adopted the resolution. Now, when we send this packet to the elections office, there will be some modifications they make just to make it ballot worthy. And sometimes they
Right.
will change the
I asked
title,
Greg that question, and he said, "What we give them is what they stick there. If we got a
right?
spelling wrong, or if we have some major faux pas on it, it goes out that way." And of
Yeah,
course,
and
people will
so
point
I'm
that
just
out, and it'll
saying,
probably go down the tube.
well, now, what I'm saying is what's in the charter, because in the charter, we give things to the elections office. The elections office will prepare it, the ballot measure. And so, and that includes if they need to make minor wording changes to make it ballot worthy. So I'd like to
Okay.
do is to try to get Greg's review, at least of the titles, next week, just because I don't think we're going to add any more proposals. I mean, these are the ones that we've been reviewing with the public and reviewing ourselves. There might be a decision by the commission not to put one of these on the ballot this time, but I'm pretty sure we're not going to add anything. So I'd at least like to get his review of our ballot titles so we can get them as good as for as ballot worthy as we can get it.
But Doug, you talked to him, you said, and he said that he doesn't change anything?
No, what we send him is, he told me, but I'll double verify that with Kathy.
Okay.
And
Yeah, and Doug, I was hoping what you could do is maybe take, I don't think we need to ask him to review the resolution, but at least the titles of the measures. I'd like to get his read on those.
which are the ones that you have there attached
Yeah,
at the bottom. Okay, yeah, I can have him do that. I could print it out and walk over and give it to him. He lives
Do you
across the
think
way
that
from me.
it should be called an ethics review or ethics code?
Right now, that's what at least we've gotten from the ethics committee. And what we
Okay,
call,
there's only three of us on that committee. I
That's a
don't
good.
remember.
That's a good point, Terry. I think you probably do need to.
I think it's
Because
the
people will
review
wonder
should be
what's a
changed.
review. Yeah.
well, I guess the
Because that's,
question is what exactly is it? Code means one thing. Ethics Review Commission means a different thing. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily a code.
okay, well, that's
So
what,
but it's really up to
but-
the subcommittee. What is the proposal? Because
and I was on that committee here, I'll tell you. It was to have an ethics code and it was enforceable by, a county ethics code that was enforceable by having an office and then also the commission. So I will reach out to Dorothy
yeah,
and see if she
and
wants
so
to.
That you can't use the word code because code is like writing law, and
yeah,
we
and
have to have
actually
so it
what
should
goes
really be
into the
ethics
charter is
commission.
code. And what so that's what we'll just need that the subcommittee to tell us what it is they're proposing. We might need to take that to Chris Cook and to Greg Kimsey as to wording of the title. It's not the content, it's the title.
Then if anything, I can tell you, we've discussed this. If anything, it would be an ethics office and a county ethics office and commission is what, that
Well,
would be close,
that's
that
the
would be closer
content.
than review.
We need to get the title. And I was
Yeah.
just going to try to pull up what we presented to the public, but I'm going to put that back to the ethics subcommittee to
Okay,
come up with a title that would show up on the ballot, not something that describes what it is, but we need at least an attempt at a title.
okay,
When do you want
there's
that?
only three of us, so I can have that to you within an hour, so.
Well, yeah, and I don't know what, because we have a meeting coming up on the 23rd where we're going to hear from the public, and I imagine we're going to want your subcommittee to hear what people have to say and decide what you want to do with it.
Okay,
So
sounds good.
I would really caution to not jump the gun, because we really do want to have the community hear what the community has to say through the survey, and even the elected officials and anybody else who comments on the 23rd, because I don't know if it would affect the structure of the first four, but definitely could affect the structure of what the subcommittees decide to do with the last three.
I don't think I was going to do that, but thanks for the caution.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, we're still in a public process, and I want to respect that. We've got a survey that just closed and we haven't seen the results of it. So that's what I'm looking at.
I think we're all looking at that, but yeah.
Right.
So I'll let you know if, maybe if the ethics review provisions, I don't know. I'll check. I'll just see if they want to change it. It may be just fine.
All right. So what my plan was is, Doug, if you could share it, knowing that the title of attachment E that has ethics in it, it might change a little bit, but if you could, Doug, if you could review the titles with Greg and
Okay.
see if there's anything that jumps out with him. I will send this draft to Chris Cook on Monday, and then have a chat with her about the timelines and the expectations, so she's ready. Because I would like to. I'm probably going to be a squeaky wheel with her, but we need to have her attention and priority for the next week and a half.
Chuck, the word provisions on diversity, and maybe Chris could chime in here too, that diversity, equity, and inclusion provisions, you probably would want to say something other than the word provision, like, or just take the word provision out and just say equity, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Well, to have the whole
We're,
DEI
I'm gonna
committee
leave
here.
that to the
so-
subcommittee.
we're digging into the wrong weeds here right now, guys. I think
Yeah.
this is just like working titles. We could call it lock, stock, and barrel if we wanted to. It wouldn't matter because this is not the final document at this point, correct? So
That's
really,
correct. This
maybe we can
This
pull
is
it
a
back to
working
next-
draft.
Yeah, but this is
And
getting real
so-
close.
When we actually draft the proposals, we'll have different language for the amendments. We'll have different titles for the amendments, and what any of these could be called could be different. So I just want to make sure we don't dive into the wrong
Yeah,
patch of
and-
weeds
and
right
we're-
now here.
And that's really looking at the subcommittees to finish their work and the content of their proposals so we can put it into ballot measure language. But I would
Oh, good
suggest that we
point.
give, that we do give the subcommittees, and maybe that's what we can work on, is giving the subcommittees at least some idea of how one would structure a ballot title. And it'd be nice if we had some research on some of these. But I have not had the time to look around and see if any charter counties have ever passed an ethics. Well, Pierce County has, so we could look at that. But DEI and 5 districts, would have to look around to see what they did and anything that's similar and how they titled it for the ballot. That would just be what I would do.
So do you
I
want me
put
to
together
wait?
a lot of resources around that with people that did ethics, and so did and it's also with the BEI stuff. Like we have an FAQ with like tons of resources to look at about the
Right.
language.
Again,
So
I'm trying.
we'll get back to you. We'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, I'm trying to work with the structure of what we're doing and the prototypes of what we're doing. The content is going to be up to the subcommittees. All they do is finalize the proposal. We then will have to craft that into ballot language. And so there might be some clarifications that we need to make next week, but I'm not going to try to supersede what the subcommittees are doing or try to speculate what it is that they should do.
So do you want me to take this to Greg now, or do you want me to wait until these subcommittees come back? Because I know he's going to jump on E and F.
I would
Because-
like to get his read, if he, I really just want to get his read on the structure of the ballot titles.
Okay.
I don't want to get into the content, he probably won't want to get into the content.
No, but I mean, what I'm seeing there, he'll look at it and
Yeah,
he'll have definitely some comments because to be a little
and
more.
if that comment
certain.
provides some guidance, that's even more valuable.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and show it to him, even though this part E and F probably are gonna
These
get cleaned
could
up.
have some minor changes. Again,
Okay.
this is, I'd just like to get his read on, first, I'd like to get his read on how you form a ballot title. So if he can provide input, if you want to share the proposal with him, at least in the form that it's been presented, maybe he could suggest something different, but really just, if you can share the working titles with them and get a feel for what his temperature is on these.
Okay.
I think we just lost Kim.
I'll pick something up.
There.
And,
All right.
I'll print it out and share it with him.
All right. And then what I was thinking, Doug, since I don't know if you're planning to get whatever we're calling it, the Clarity Committee together. I think it is important that we get Greg's read on the ballot title for this things. I don't know what clarity provisions would mean to the average voter. And that's why it'd be nice to get Greg's read on what's a descriptive title for something like that.
I'd
Okay.
love to hear Greg's read. I mean, because this ballot measure is huge. I mean,
Well,
it's,
it
you know,
is. Mhm.
let me finish. Let me finish. It's huge. And so I would like to get his, I would like to get Greg Kemsey's read on, is all of that absolutely necessary? So it would be awesome, maybe if they're going to share something with them, share that one and go, is there any way, you know, him being the county auditor, is there any way that that can be shortened and not so extensive? Because it's just, it's overwhelming, and it's going to be overwhelming for voters.
Do you think voters will read all of that?
I think they might,
No,
there's a
not at
chance
all.
that they'll take a look at the length of what's in the voter pamphlet and say, it's just too long. I'm going to vote no. We always run that risk.
This isn't on just on the voters pamphlet. This is language that you're going to have on the ballot, right?
No.
No. What's on the ballot
Okay.
will be the ballot measure.
Yeah, it won't
Oh,
have
okay.
any charter underlines or crossing out or anything like that. That's in the voters pamphlet. This is just the ballot is the ballot. It's very short and sweet. It's probably the top. It's if you look at what he has out there now, it's that paragraph will be it. Approve or reject. Do you want to do these grammatical changes and clerical errors or not? And update laws and update charter to current state law or not?
I'm going to pull up. I want to pull up the Clallam County.
While you're doing that, Chris, I haven't, but I've been thinking about calling the Clarity Committee together. John Lotta felt like he thought an email sending out the latest version so they could look at it would be appropriate, and I could do that tonight to the group. What's your feedback on that? You're on the committee.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think it'd be good to put a meeting on the agenda so we can talk about the final form a little bit too.
Okay, because there have been changes in that area.
Yeah,
That
just
we
for like
made.
how we.
Well,
Yeah.
I think some of the changes we're assuming that they're going to be booted to the second phase.
So
Okay.
is the Clallam County Charter Amendment number 2 on your screen?
Yes.
That's how it will appear on the ballot. So if they want to see all of the changes that are proposed, they're going to have to go to the voter guide. The changes typically, when you have ballot measures like this, they put those at the end. So there'll be, I'll show you. This is what the voter guide would look like. One
Can you
page.
guys hear me?
Now
Can
we
you hear me
can.
at all? Oh, okay, because I've been talking and it's like quite
Haven't heard you, right? Yeah.
I just now
Okay,
started.
yeah, because I kept going over like, okay, I get that. I understand that. And so, okay. Sorry, I keep going in and out, I think.
So I want to give kind of a primer on these things. This is an actual voter guide page from Clallam County when they changed the frequency of their charter reviews. The gray part is what's on the ballot. Explanatory statement is what we write that goes to the elections office. Argument for, argument against, we don't do. What the elections office will do is they will reach out for a committee of up to 3 to do the argument for, and then they'll reach out for a committee of up to 3 to do the argument against. Each of those committees will write their statements, and I think there is a word limit. They'll then share it with the opposing committee. And the opposing committees will each then write kind of a rebuttal statement. So there'll be an argument for, rebuttal of argument against, rebuttal of argument for. Those committees are responsible for those, not us. Now, we might have members of the Charter Review Commission who will serve on those. And as long as we don't have a quorum, we are able to do that. Because if you look at Clallam counties, they actually had Charter Review Commissioners on both sides, and up to 3. So, so that's why you actually see 3 names, argument for, 3 names, argument against, all of whom are on the Charter Review Commission. That's acceptable. That doesn't violate any rules or campaign laws. So what would be in the back of the voter guide then would be all of these changes. And this is a simple one for them. And it actually passed to make it 8 years instead of 5. It actually had passed to make it 5 years instead of 10, earlier. But then they put this on the ballot when they did their first 5-year review, and they said, we want to make it 8 years. So that's what the Charter Review Commission, after 5 years, put on the ballot.
And that's probably normal because they've been a home rule county for quite a while, so they've had a chance
Yes,
to
they
look
have
at it.
been through several reviews.
And yeah, and they've refined it, and they're probably getting more and more thinking it's working for everybody. So let's not meet
But again,
right away.
I
Yeah.
don't want to get into the weeds. This is just the template that we've been referencing for what we're trying to put together.
Yeah.
Hey, Chuck, can you, I'm sorry, you kind of cut out for me. Can you repeat the part about the violating campaign that doesn't violate, like when you were talking
All right.
about the for and against?
So
Just real brief. It doesn't have to be real. Yeah.
the elections office did you get the part about the elections office appointing a committee of 3 to write
Yeah,
an
I got
argument
that part.
for?
I got
Okay.
that.
So if you look at the Clallam County, they had 3 Charter Review Commissioners write the statement for, 3 Charter Review Commissioners wrote the statement against.
Oh, okay, great. Thanks.
They're all on the Charter Review Commission, but as long as we don't have a quorum on either side, and we're not out there campaigning on behalf of the commission, what they did is actually legitimate.
Okay, great. Thanks.
The question. The argument for and against is not subject to the same deadline as the ballot language and the voters pamphlet language, correct?
There will
It
be
only has to be
deadlines
those 2 pieces.
once the auditor's office has accepted our packet and has certified it for the ballot. And I think they might wait until August 3rd, which is the deadline. They will then ask for committees of 3 for each side. There will be a deadline to appoint that committee of 3, and those committees will each be given a deadline to turn around their statements, because
Right,
this,
yeah, but it's separate from that first batch, which is just
It's-
the ballot
it's
language
separate.
on
Mhm.
pamphlet. Okay, just want to make sure
Yeah.
that was okay. Delineated. So we don't really have to
Once-
worry about the for and against right now.
once we do our work, once we pass these to put on the ballot, our work is done as a commission.
Got it.
It gets sent off to the elections office. They deal with it from there.
And I have a question about that. So committees of 3, are those for each ballot measure?
Yes.
Okay, so each ballot measure gets a committee.
And they, yeah,
Okay.
they may not find
that's all
anybody
I wanted.
either. So they may just have
Mhm.
one group maybe for it, and they, because it's so obvious, why would anybody say they're against it?
Yeah.
So
And that
whatever that topic is.
that's happened.
Yeah, many times. Yeah.
Not on charter amendments, but other measures. And if they pass the deadline, they'll put out a special press release that they're looking for people to write the statement. It's usually the statement against where they have trouble finding that committee. And it doesn't, in our case, we probably won't have charter review commissioners writing statements against, and don't feel obligated that, oh, they don't have anybody, I'll jump in and volunteer. Don't do that if you don't support that position. What they'll do is the opponents will need to figure it out. And chances are, with at least what I've seen, that those statements against will come from non-charter review commissioners.
Okay, thanks.
All right. So I want to go back to just our work plan and schedule and then wrap things up. So we have for the proposals that we have that Doug and I have kind of developed as prototypes, I don't think they need to go back to the subcommittees because I think they've already kind of passed things along. But maybe the clarity one.
Yeah, we need to meet, and actually the nonpartisan one, I didn't haven't had the time, but I need to let them know. At least I'll send it to them in an email. The filling the vacancy part was pulled from that. That's going to have to be a separate request,
and
either
that
this
actually,
time or next time. But we could pull it together pretty fast.
and actually came out of a discussion with Greg Kimsey where he was suggesting that if the vacancy provision gets too convoluted, just pull it out and then let the county council deal with it if it comes up
For this next year, but
for this next year.
yeah, but hopefully they'll all be okay, and we won't have to worry about getting some.
Well, I'm not going to
some-
speculate, but that's
Yeah.
just what is when he and I talked about it.
Yeah,
So I'm okay sending, if you want to just do a brief run through with the subcommittee, I'd like to get these first four to Chris Cook to do a legal sufficiency review next week, plus the resolution.
okay.
These are all working drafts, but I do want to get her, because her review next week, because the other three are going to take more of her time. Because they're going to be more complex to develop.
So I may just do the clarity committee as a recorded meeting, but I could just send an email to the partisan committee, letting them know that we broke it up and that we eliminated the vacancy for the first phase. Hopefully it'll be
Yeah,
on the
so
ballot
I'll
for the
let you
second
work
phase.
with that
Okay.
committee, that subcommittee. But if you could get a turnaround, it'd be nice to have as much as we can into Chris by Tuesday, so that we can get her full attention. And I think the way I understand and working with her, she needs to get a package rather than nickel and dime so she can pay full attention to it. So I just wanted to get a complete package to her. But I'll call her on Monday and let her know what it's coming and kind of get a read from her as to how she wants things fed through her.
Yeah.
So Chuck,
Yeah.
will you be expecting an updated language from each of the committee chairs on their measures now that we've had some feedback? Or are we going to have a cycle of that after we look at the survey results?
So the ones that I think are the more complex are the, let me pull them up again, are the last three. So that would be, whoop, I don't want Outlook, I want that. The ethics, DEI, and the districts are the ones that we need to kind of finalize the proposal, and then we'll need to take that final proposal and craft it into ballot language. So if you want to take each one, because I know DEI meets Monday, ethics, Terry said that she's going to get with that subcommittee. The districts is the one I think I'm sharing. I kind of lost track.
Yes.
I think I'm sharing that one.
Yeah.
So I'll reach out to that subcommittee. Those are ones that, since they've been the ones that have been receiving the most questions, at least in the discussions I've had, at least through NAC, and maybe in the first, I didn't participate in the last town hall, but the first town hall, there are questions on the DEI, and I think there's a question, at least in the chat, on ethics. And so those are the ones I expect will have to have some discussion with each of the subcommittees as far as content of the proposal that then needs to get structured into the ballot language. Now, the ballot language is one thing, but the changes to the charter, the ballot language approves changes to the charter. The changes to the charter get codified if they pass. So it gets worked into the charter. That's the code provisions of what we're doing. So while something might just be a paragraph on the ballot, what's attached to that as the measure, which is the markups of the charter, that's as important as the ballot language, because that needs to be legally consistent in order to get codified into the charter and not create a conflict or a gap in that language. So that's why it's important to get the legal sufficiency review, not as much on the ballot language, but as on the actual amendment to the charter.
So, Chuck, some of these, if they're not quite ready, fully baked, I guess let's say, we could, I should say the subcommittee could decide not to move forward on something.
I think the subcommittee can make a suggestion or a recommendation back to the full
Yeah.
commission, but it's really the full commission
Yeah, that's what I meant.
need
That
to make that decision.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that, I mean, these are the ones that have been aired and vetted. I really hope that we're ready to go with these on the 30th, because we just don't have time to have multiple versions, multiple drafts, multiple opinions. It's really up to the subcommittees to formalize their proposal. They don't need to take it to the ballot language. That'll be our work. So it's really the content of the proposal they need to finish, because that's what will get presented in ballot language format and charter amendment format to the commission on the 30th. Does that make sense to everybody? So the assignments that I get now are, Doug, you're going to review the working ballot titles with Greg and get his read.
Yeah, I can do it this weekend, and
All
I'll
right.
get my committees going.
Okay.
See how I get.
I'm going to get a hold of Chris on Monday, Chris Cook, not Chris Goodwin, Chris Cook, and work with her on timing and what she needs for legal sufficiency review and expectations. Doug, you're going to take back to the Clarity Committee that first measure and just get a clarification and an okay, all right, this is good enough for at least the legal sufficiency review. Same with nonpartisan. What am I missing here? The charter review frequency and commissioner terms, that's really straightforward. I'm just prepared to take that to Chris Cook as it is. The other three are, I don't think are going to be ready this week to have Chris Cook take a look at them, just because they're still in a state of flux, and we'll need to finalize their ones next week, next Friday. So I'm going to just task each of those who are on those subcommittees to work with the subcommittees to finalize the proposal, so we can next Friday work them into ballot language.
Okay, so I'm on 2 of those committees, and I can make sure that that happens. I know one of our members is on a camping trip or something. Hopefully she'll be back. But as far as the
She'll be
ethics
back
committee,
by Wednesday.
yeah, I'm hoping. But if not, the other 2 of us will work on it. I was the one that put together the proposal that you have right there around the ethics committee, And then,
Right.
you know, I know that there's most of us on the DEI committee are here today. And so we can make a commitment to do that when we meet.
Yeah, we're meeting Monday.
have those-
So we'll need to finalize as much as we can, knowing that that committee's meeting before hearing back from the survey on Wednesday. But at least I think we can just agree on content. And then if what we discuss on Wednesday leads to something needing to change, then I think I would look to Chris to convene us either by email or in kind of a special meeting of the subcommittee to review anything that needs to get formalized in the proposal or revised in the proposal.
Okay.
And then districts, I'm going to take on, that's my responsibility. So I'll share that, that proposal with members of that subcommittee. So leave anything out?
No, let me know about that one too. I'm on that committee as well.
All right. Do we think any of the subcommittees are going to have any issues between Wednesday night and Friday afternoon convening and finalizing their proposals?
I'm not
It's
sure.
just,
I'll reach out to.
it's all
Ethics.
about schedules. And I've had
Yeah.
some horrendous challenges trying to schedule 4 people.
Yeah,
And,
Yeah.
and
and,
it might just
and
have
I,
to be an email.
yeah, and that's what I'm going to do right now is email. Do you want to meet? I'll try to make that happen. So we can have some more dialogue, or they could just contact me and we could have a dialogue individually, I guess, on it because
All right.
I'm familiar with both issues and what's been pulled.
Okay,
Right.
so what,
So
just for me to clarify, what we're actually asking for is a draft, a proposal, but the draft, you know, for the drafting committee, more of a proposal of a ballot measure for the drafting committee to be able to use as a template and work with.
Yeah,
to.
we have proposals now. So all we really need is for the subcommittees to finalize what's in their proposals and what their expectations are in those proposals. We'll craft the ballot language around that. So don't feel
Okay.
like you need to get the subcommittee starting to figure out how to form ballot language. That's why we're
Okay,
here.
so they could just say,
Yeah.
okay, Terry, we're fine with our proposal. That's what, and I just bring it back to you, going, okay, the ethics committee is fine with their proposal, you know, as it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
yeah.
Sounds good.
But I hope
That should be
there's
easy peasy.
but I hope there's some both with the ethics committee that there is more written process a little bit so that there is a sense of because if it's still nebulous, people aren't going to vote for it because it's just saying, well, we need ethics board and but there needs to be almost a organizational process of how it's going to happen and what happens, what triggers it, and what the fines are going to
That's
be.
why
You
I'd
know,
love
I
to
think
have an
that
intern.
we addressed that. I think that
Yeah.
that we addressed that even at the town hall, Doug, is that's not, you know, how it actually is put into effect into the council. We're leaving it up to the council to write an ethics code and put it in and start an ethics office. We're not going to tell them how to run it. I
Not
don't know.
how to run. Well, you have to have structure. I mean, document is for structure. So we got to say that we want a commission of 8 people or
Oh yeah,
8
and
people.
that's in the
Yeah.
proposal.
Keep
Okay.
in mind that I have seen charter amendments that require that they say we want to adopt that by X date, the county council will adopt a code of ethics. You don't need to write the code of ethics into the charter. What you do in the charter is say that as part of the structure, the county council has until X to adopt a code.
Yeah, that's
I've
what I
seen
was
that
trying to
done.
say. Yeah,
Mhm.
and that's what I was trying to say. And
So,
that, I believe we said at our last town hall and commission
and,
meeting.
and Terry,
Yeah.
I can tell you, there will be comments on Wednesday about who the code of ethics is being applied to.
Okay, so I think that that's addressed in our proposal, but I'll point it, I'll highlight everything and send it out to you guys.
Yeah, it's not clear. because part of the slide said it'll be applied to elected and appointed officials. The feedback I got from the town hall was that it would be applied across the board, even to staff.
The slide was correct.
Well,
It's
that's
an
what
ethics,
I'm
it's
just,
ethics code for the county government.
I'm just
know,
giving you
and
that
anybody
heads
that's
up.
employed at the county. So that's,
All
I'm
right,
just telling
I'm
you.
just
that's what
giving
we
you
talked
that
about.
heads up.
Okay. I'll send it to you with that highlighted.
Well, you don't need to send, again, the ethics, DEI and districts, frankly, I don't even want to see them before Wednesday because those are the ones I think are going to have gotten the most comments from the public.
Okay.
I want to make sure we get the full public input on those. The other ones structurally, I haven't heard much of anything on. But those three I have heard on. I've heard at NAC. I expect we're going to have input in the survey. I don't know what was in the survey regarding ethics, if that was put in there, that was only applied to appointed and elected officials. And now we've got a proposal to make it available to apply to staff as well, because the survey is, responses to the survey are based on what was in the survey, not based on whatever was presented at the town hall or whatever was discussed. So, and I don't know, I don't have the survey in front of me. Chris, you helped write that. Do you remember what was in that for ethics?
I helped write that too, and I think it was clear that it was county.
All right, so I want
Employees.
to make sure, but and it's optics as much as anything. I don't want to see anything before Wednesday on those, because really those are the ones that need to have the public input provided so we can have that discussion and the subcommittees can have that discussion.
Was that
The other
survey or
one,
the presentation we were talking about, slides?
yeah, the presentation said elected and appointed at that little preamble at the top of the slide.
I have it pulled up in front of me, and what we have in action, in our actual survey questions is a compliance office and/or commission of Clark County operations and services. So it's all of Clark County operations and services.
Public
But
officials and employees.
what was the question asked? Does it
It says,
say,
and it said, which option do you want? Ethics oversight and compliance, and independent ethics commission, both A and B. So
no, that's not what I'm
but
asking.
it was in reference to, no, I'm telling you what it was in reference to. You're asking about if it's in reference to just elected officials. It doesn't say that. It says Clark County operations and services.
That doesn't, because what was in the slide said elected and appointed officials. My question is, how was it asked in the survey?
I'm reading you the survey question. It
All right,
says,
read me the survey question.
it says oversight and compliance officer and or commission of Clark County operations and services. So it's in reference to all of Clark County operations and services.
Okay, so it doesn't specifically say elected, appointed
No, it
officials
doesn't.
and
And
staff?
yeah, I don't know who made the slide. So
All right, so we'll see what kind of comments we get back on that, because I'm sensing there was a disconnect between what was presented and what was intended. And so we need to be prepared on that one. I know we'll be getting comments on, now I just lost it. Yeah. I know we're going to get comments on that. So,
okay.
So go ahead, Doug.
No, I'll jump into the weeds. I was going to ask Chris a question, but about ethics and.
So you're going to jump out of the weeds?
Yeah, because in the treasurer's office, it's all about that, and I would fire people right away if there was some ethical misbehavior.
I think I'd like to hear from Kathleen Otto on Wednesday as to what the human resources code of ethics might already be in place at the staff level. And frankly, if I have a charter amendment and I'm a county staff person and the charter says they're going to have a code of ethics adopted and applied to county staff, I'm going to wonder, I'm already working under a code of ethics under the human resources policy. Why would
But-
I want to vote on this?
Okay, well, I think that we went over this actually just at our last meeting when, you know, it's not,
Mhm.
or maybe it was a communications meeting. It's not about just like signing something and going, oh yeah, I'll be ethical. It's about, you know, the ability to fine people, to find them, you know, guilty. I mean, there's actually, so it's much different than, I
So
think
why
that,
why is a county employee would I want to run the risk of being fined if I screw up just happen to be human and screw up?
Yeah,
well,
you have the unions big time involved
Yeah,
in this one.
I can tell you, having been at the county and been a union member at the county, and Kim can probably, and Chris too, that I'm gonna, well, first,
okay, I
yeah,
think we're getting into the
let's-
weeds.
I
because
think it's just
I'm a
be
member, so
prepared. That's all I'm saying is
yeah,
be
we're prepared,
prepared on that because there will be questions on.
Terry,
we will be prepared.
are you, I guess Dorothy's the subcommittee chair for ethics. I wonder if you could benefit from having Kim or I on your next meeting to tell you
Yeah,
a little
that-
bit about what.
No, I think we're okay. I think I'm okay. I think I'm in this meeting with you. I can take it. But unless there's, you don't think that I'm
because we've been
understanding.
in the county system as an employee and we're familiar with the ethics code as it exists, if that might help with kind of parsing it out. I think sometimes commissioners conflate the ethics HR policies with the ethics that are the main focus of this amendment. And maybe, I don't know, don't have to, but maybe that insider point of view on what the existing ethics stuff is for employees might help parse the
I'm
language.
and I'm sure, you know, I'll add, Kim, I can invite you to at the next meeting.
So,
if
yeah,
when we
so
happen.
again,
But I want to
it's-
tell you that
It's a good
it's
offer.
probably the exact same ethics things that me as an employee of a hospital signs about ethics and those kind of things, about what I'm supposed to do, what I'm not supposed to do, and everything. It's a little different. An ethics code for the county is a little, we're talking about something different than what a human resources department, just like we're talking about something different in DEI than what a human resources.
well, then
department puts forward.
again,
We
the
need to
heads up,
understand that. I don't.
yeah, the heads up is going to be the county employees are going to read that and say, I already have a code of ethics. Now I'm going to have another one. And so I know Pierce County's actually applies to everybody across the board. So I really would suggest take a look at how they've structured it, but most of the county staff is represented. Most of them already are working under an HR ethics policy, and they're going to want to know what's
And I get that, you guys. I mean, I'm part of a union too. I've been in unions. I've worked in hospitals that have very strict ethics, but this is a little, we're talking about something a little different.
okay. So that's more, it's just a heads up. I'm trying to write your
Yeah.
proposal for you, but I can tell you there will be comments coming on Wednesday.
Okay,
All right. Well, promised this was going to be short and we're 9 minutes over the hour that it's
Ah.
scheduled. So that I guess that's just the way things are with me. So I think we all have our assignments and timelines. Any questions before I stop recording and adjourn the meeting?
When's our next
no,
meeting?
Our next meeting is next Friday at 5 o'clock, 5 to 6:30. That's our workshop.
Okay.
Should be on your calendar because I know I sent it to
Okay.
everybody. And that's all hands on deck. So I know Deanna is going to be there. I need to catch up with her after this. Right now, she doesn't have any assignments. I don't know if she's on any of the subcommittees in question here. So
I have a doctor's appointment before that, so hopefully I should be there in time. But I may.
we better be, or you're going to get assigned everything.
Well, I got the whole weekend. You could to work away at it. So
All right. Well, I'm going to let everybody go. I'm going to stop recording and adjourn the meeting.
well, hey,
And
Kim,